You ready to go?
I thought that one of the things I'll just say real quickly, I have to say this, I have to, Barb, is I thought that things would like calm down just a little bit after the election, and they're three times worse, which is good, but it's worse because Trump is just moving so quickly on implementing, what he wants and getting the right people here and there and there. Um, I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, I'm trying to check out and focus on my business as much as I can, but I'm
Right.
having difficulty.
I can understand that. All right. You good, Barb?
Let me bring up my notes on the
All
first
right.
second. It's already 11. I thought it was cool to see how the stock market exploded after he got elected.
And that doesn't that say everything? Because that is when the rubber hits the road, as they say. It would not have exploded if they didn't have faith in him and what he was going to do.
Yeah, come on, man. I don't understand this. It should have given me what I asked for. Okay. I've had misbehaving computers all day.
We are at the mercy sometimes of our devices.
Hmm. How's all your dental stuff doing? You feeling better?
Oh no, you know what? I thought I was going to be able to just have this taken care of like right after the election. And with everything going on now, and especially, I think I was stupid because I think we're really in a dangerous time between now and the day he walks into the Oval Office. I wouldn't put anything past the people who live in fear of him being the commander in chief and the person who calls the shots. These are the Merrick Garlands and the rest of these are evil people. I mean, so I think it's going to have to wait until after then. I'm going to see if I can get in this week and have them do something, though, to help out. In the meantime, I should have done that a while ago.
Yeah. Challenge staying healthy.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, trust me, you're a lot younger than I am. The longer it goes, that bigger that challenge is, and a lot of it's my fault because I'll get to that tomorrow. I'll get to that next month. I'll get to that. I have so much medical stuff that I just again, kept putting off because my focus was on the election, and God only knows, all of the other stuff in terms of, my blood pressure and cholesterol and all that crap.
I know it's the last thing we want to spend time on. Get scanned. Like I had mine over here beside.
Yeah.
It just kind of got big one day. I
Oh,
felt fine.
wow.
It's like a knot on my neck.
That could be like a thyroid or something, right?
It wasn't thyroid. I don't know. The doctor, he was young. He was so young. I was like, you did, what are you, 25? I mean, I was just sitting there thinking, I didn't say anything, but um he just said, this is your body's filtration system. So it's filtering something. Don't worry about it. Unless it's golf ball size, then call me back. But if you want to have it scanned, you can have it scanned, which I never got around to.
And it just kind of resolved itself.
It went away. I
Yeah,
never got sick.
okay,
It was just weird. It was sort of like your body's like, okay, I'm fighting this, whatever it is.
I mean, I can't. There's nothing. There was not today, but not ever was there anything that was noticeable. Okay, I'm good. Are you good, Barb?
I think so. I'm finally ready.
All
Hopefully
right.
my voice behaves.
3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb's an author. Barb's also a pilot. And Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you again. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. And if you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just go ahead and search Barb on most of the popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. So, what's on the docket today, Barb Schlinker?
Well, Richard, the first topic is about timing the market. I think a lot of people wonder, should I wait this time of year if they need to sell, or should I wait until the spring or summer or whatever? And at the end of the day, it really does not matter. So I titled this segment, Is It Harder to Sell a House in the Winter in Colorado? And the truth is, it's actually a pretty good time. There had been a few months when December was probably one of my better months, only because people that are moving then are very serious and they're going to make it happen. And I think they're not tire kickers, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then the next topic's kind of interesting because I get this question all the time. What improvements actually increase a home's value versus not increase the home value? And then we're going to talk about the top questions a home seller should be asking agents before they sign an agreement to sell their home. And many of these questions, I'm excited to share some of them with you. You can actually get the full list from my website, but these are questions that real estate agents do not want you to ask them.
Hmm.
So you'll get a little bit of intel on that. And the last topic, it's a new one. I haven't really covered this before, but it is a good question. This came from buyers that we're working with, and they want to know, okay, so how much money should I be saving up before I buy a house? Because there's a lot of hidden and surprise expenses. And if you've only saved the minimum, you don't want to be surprised when it comes down to the finish line and they're like, oh, your loan's not approved because you didn't set aside 3 or 6 months of house payments somewhere. So we're going to deep dive into that. And as always, we'll talk about hot new listings. Richard?
So, Barb, some people assume that there must be one season that's more popular or less popular for buying and selling homes. Here's the question: is it harder to sell a house in the winter here in Colorado?
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, it's beautiful here year round. It really is. And even though we had a bit of snow over the past week, on balance, you get a little snow, it clears off, and then it's gorgeous. So I think people moving here really appreciate that. And the buyers right now, they're looking for the best deals. There's no question of that. The market has changed quite a bit. And we have systems and ways to make sure that you're going to get offers no matter what time of year it is. I call it my secret sauce for getting your home sold. And it involves a couple of things, pricing it right and making sure it's marketed correctly. We're also going to talk a little bit about our instant cash offers and our guarantee of 100% of market value or I'll pay the difference. And I'll show you some actual statistics about what month is the best time to sell. And when I looked at October sales, it was kind of surprising to see that the sales in October were higher than in September. So it varies all the time. But in general, it's definitely a softer market than it was between 2020 and mid 2022. The median listing price has dropped 25,000 in the last 5 months. That's 5,000 a month. So if you are thinking of selling, if this trend continues, don't wait because you're going to lose some equity if you do that. Nearly one half of the sellers have lowered their prices in the past 5 months. The average days on market right now is 86 days, almost 3 months. And that's up a few days from the previous month. And more people actually lowered their price than the volume of sales that have taken place. So it's not a real bright picture market-wise, but it's not horrible. I just traveled last week and I was watching a video blog about the property values in one of my favorite states, Florida. And some of those markets, Richard, they have dropped substantially. I'm talking 10 to 30%. Unbelievable. And I don't know, that might have to do with hurricanes and condo fees and stuff like that. What do you think?
I think so. I mean, I think a lot of times the hurricanes come and go. People don't give a lot of thought to it. But boy, the most recent ones, especially the areas that were devastated that normally you wouldn't think are hurricanes, it's got to be on people's mind when it comes to buying.
Yeah, I mean, they have to really think twice about where they're buying a home. I actually talked to a home seller last week that moved from Woodland Park to Florida, and he decided to move to the West Coast to be close to family. And so he's calling me, asking me to help him sell his house from Florida. And I'm like, well, he's already got an agent there. I'm like, I'm not licensed in Florida. However, he knew the stats. He knew he's very much an analytical guy. So he was able to give me the stats really quickly. He's like, there's 155 homes on the market. Two-thirds of them are brand new homes. We're not a brand new home. And that was just in a $50,000 price range. So he's like, can you get me a cash offer? And I could get him a cash offer. I could get anybody in the country practically a cash offer on their home. However, um, their fee structures for these deals were probably higher than what he could do there by just making a price adjustment that makes sense. So I gave him that advice. I also went over his pictures. I can't believe how many agents really don't understand marketing at all. So I gave them a forensic opinion of many of the photos. Like one of the best photos in that group, you were sitting on a lanai looking across the table, and there was this big glass enclosure and a beautiful green grass with palm trees out back. And it was picture number 49 of 50. And I said, that is your money shot. Move that to the front. That's a lifestyle picture. And then I started really deep diving and going, get rid of that rug, get rid of that table, move this over here, different angle. So basically, I'm marketing for him, which I don't mind doing. He's a good friend, and we've done a couple of transactions together, but at the end of the day, I don't think people really understand that your first showing is online. So buyers are going to decide, especially with a higher inventory market, whether or not they're even going to leave their fuzzy bunny slippers and come out and take a look at your home based on the first 5 or 6 pictures. If you don't nail those first 5 or 6 pictures, they are moving on. And I was, it's funny, Richard, I was coming back, I was sitting behind this lady on the plane, and I was snooping, she had her big smartphone holding up in front of her. And between the seats, I could see she was looking at the MLS search for Colorado Springs. She was looking at Realtor.com. She was looking at Zillow. She wasn't just looking at whatever the agent served her up. Buyer's biggest fear is missing out on the perfect home. So they are looking at multiple websites to find that home. They don't trust just agents to do it. And that's why this marketing piece has to be so perfect. And I just don't think agents really understand how to do it. The other thing working against us right now is mortgage rates are pretty far up there. Typically, if you see the stock market rise like it did, we're not going to see mortgage rates drop. Right before the election, they got as low as 6.11 for conventional and the mid fives for the government loans, but now it's up to 6.92 and 6.32 for a VA loan. So what does that mean? It means for every 1% increase in interest rates, we lose 10% of the buyer population. So you have to be priced right. You have to be marketed right. That is the secret sauce to getting it sold. And it takes hiring somebody that has experience, expertise, market knowledge, being open, and the seller has to be open to sell for market value. I know a lot of people will say, oh, well, Zillow said my house is worth X, or because of what I paid or whatever, I think it's worth this much. What it's worth is what a buyer's willing to pay. And the way you get what a buyer is willing to pay is not by overpricing it. Um, so you have to make sure you get that right. And the inventory, the competition is higher as well. So if you'd like to find out a little bit more about how to get all what I call the 4 Ps correct in selling your home, go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on the green button to download any one of my free reports. I just helped a couple home sellers price their homes very realistically versus optimistically. In both cases, those homes sold at or above market value and at or above asking price actually in a week or less. And condition is absolutely important too. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about whether or not it's harder to sell a house in winter. And then when we come back, we're going to touch on some things that you can do in order to get top dollar any time of the year. Richard?
We're talking about whether or not it's harder to sell in the winter versus the spring or even the summer months. So, how do home sellers know that their home will sell in the winter months and in this changing market environment that we're seeing right now?
Well, I believe most agents really have never seen a correcting market. More than 80% of agents get out of the business every 5 years. So what's been going on in the last 5 years? The prices have gone up substantially. So they've never seen a market drop and they don't know what to do. And that's why we're seeing a lot more homes that are going off the market, either canceled or expired, a larger percentage of home sellers lowering their price. And at the same time, we've got buyers that are sitting on the sideline just waiting for the best deals before they buy a home. And there's a huge buyer population out there. Part of it is affordability, and part of it is, whether or not they like what they're being offered at that price. So that's why the pricing decision is probably one of the most critical things that you can do. And I see home sellers do this where they price the home too high, they slowly walk the price down, and they end up netting less money. I just helped Victor and Nona sell their house out in Peyton. It had been on the market for 110 days with no sale. And they did everything wrong. They priced it too high. They slowly walked the price down. Their agent was too cheap to get professional photos. The agent did not highlight the best features of the home. And so we took over the listing, made a tiny price adjustment, and marketed it right. And we got it sold in just 9 days. And other buyers were clamoring for it right after that as well. So it's really, really critical that you get your house priced on target. And with us, you have choices. So some people are a little nervous about when I talk about this cash offer program, but it does a couple things for you. Let's say you don't want any one of those cash offers. That's okay. We can leverage those cash offers in a couple of different ways. We can actually, if an agent calls and says, "Hey, my buyer's interested in your home. Do you have any other offers?" I can say, "Well, yes, I do. Bring your best and highest offer." Or let's say they come to me and they have a house to sell, or they come to the agent, another agent, and they have a house to sell. We can actually put that home up in our cash offer platform and get it sold without them having to worry about a sale contingency. So all of those are great benefits. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program and she is your real estate voice. And right now, if you call her at 719-301-3900 or just visit barbhasthebuyers.com, you can start finding out if your home will sell in a market like this. When we come back, we'll be talking about which home improvements actually increase a home's value. Stay tuned for that.
All right.
All right.
Hmm. Does my voice sound terrible?
No, not at all. In fact, I was okay because I didn't even notice it. I
What
mean,
did he say?
He said only in a couple of spots.
Yeah, I lost. I kind of lost my voice for a second. I'm like, keep talking.
And one of them, you said the word twice, so I'll just replace it with that. So I'll,
You're so good. Thank
I'll
you.
copy it. Yeah. I'm
We
on
don't
it.
deserve you, David. We just don't. Or she does. I don't. Um,
All over it like gravy on a biscuit.
well, we should have Barb be President Trump's real estate czar.
Oh God. I don't know. I don't know if I can keep pace with that man.
I
He's got,
know.
he's got so much energy. It's amazing.
And if you think about, I mean, now he's continuing to push, but during the whole campaign, he was getting 4 hours sleep, 2 hours sleep, three
I
or
don't know
four
how he did it.
appearances. I don't either.
Every single day, out on three different things. It's amazing.
Over and over again.
One of my agents made me some, uh, this is apple cider vinegar and honey concoction.
Does it seem like it's helping?
I haven't tried it yet. It smells good, but I'm gonna go get a cup. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Might clear up.
I honestly, if she hadn't said anything, I guess I just don't notice. All
No,
right.
she had a voice crack at the very beginning, and then one other place where about 5 minutes in.
This is weird. One dead, four hospitalized after mysterious odor in Denver about 8 o'clock this morning. That is, what the hell's going on with that?
Routine shake. So I'm trying to hold that down, see how it goes.
Yes, that they moved up from Pueblo. I don't know.
I don't know what to, I saw something earlier today. Remember you had Megan the Stallion doing that rally with Kamala Harris, and it's saying that apparently they paid her $5 million for that.
I bet.
And and that's the thing. I mean, do I think
Is
that's
that what is that? What's Megan I don't even want to know.
no, she's some
She's a rapper.
black female rapper, and it's the kind of thing where I guess she's a big deal to people
A
and not to
tweaker chick
us.
or something?
Oh yeah, I mean, and yeah, I'm looking at her little routine at the rally, and David and I were just saying, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that they paid $5 million at the last minute for her to do that. But I think what they didn't allow for is that anybody
But
who was
isn't
getting,
she like 2 million in debt after?
yes, yes, and I don't,
Like, wait a minute.
and I'm glad I'm not her friend, because I would have said, you understand that anybody who is going to vote for you because of Megan the Stallion is probably already voting for you. So, oh my God, I'm so happy to take the garbage out with her, quite honestly.
Uh, I'm glad the American people made the right decision. Although I don't understand why Carrie Lake didn't win. I don't get that.
I think, you know what? I think it's stolen from her. And I think they did it the last time. I think they did it this time. But you know what? You want to make a bet that Carrie Lake doesn't end up being a pretty prominent person in the Trump administration?
I would hire her.
I
She
would
seems
too.
very MAGA. I
Oh
heard
my
that
gosh, yes.
what's the doofus in the Senate? The guy that's right now the one in charge of the Senate. I can't think of his name.
Oh, McConnell?
Connell, yeah, I had a senior moment. He didn't send her a penny to win her election.
That guy is,
Same with Dave McCormick.
and now they're going to be voting, and one of the guys is John Thune, and he's a never Trumper, or as close
Yeah,
as
he's a
you get.
swamp
Yeah,
creature.
I did an event several years back, and I was the MC. He was the headline speaker, and I was impressed. I mean, he's articulate. He was a good-looking guy. He seemed conservative. I honestly thought, you know what? One day this guy is going to be president, and lo and behold, if they could just get rid of him. Kristi Noem's going to be Department of Homeland Security, but if they would have just gotten rid of Thune and put Kristi Noem there, I would have taken that in a heartbeat. So many of these people, he doesn't need people who are going to undermine him.
Well, I think I think he learned the hard way the last time. That so many people did undermine him. But I was just wondering, it's like, how do you untrench the government? I mean, I worked in the government before. There's a lot of people that make a lot of money and don't do very much. So how do they provide plausible cover for what their role is, you know?
Yeah. I mean, swamp is the deal. And I mean, so many of these people, you couldn't even trust them if you thought you could trust them because they're liable to be blackmailed or whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It is going to be fun. All right, I got another one ready to go here.
Yep.
Down in three, two, one. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of this program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many of the listeners know you and your team are the only people that I would ever recommend, and you've been here in the market selling homes for quite a time. So, what are some home improvements that could increase a home's value and that people ought to think about?
Well, I want to talk a little bit about what brings a house value in the first place. A lot of people think that there's three different kinds of values, basically. There's well, actually four, if you include the online opinions of value, which are called automated valuations or Zestimates or whatever you want to call them. Those are just computerized generated values. They don't necessarily mean anything. They're probably wrong, I'd say half the time. And then there's also the assessed value. So that is the value at which the tax assessor deems your home is worth and where they base your property taxes from. By state law, the assessed value is supposed to be based on its value 18 months behind the current market. So here we are in 2024. So last year they went on a feeding frenzy and look back 18 months behind the current market. And lo and behold, that was when the values had peaked out at the middle of 2022. So people were getting massive increases on their tax bills and last year. And it was kind of fun to help people try to find comps to support a lower value. And some people were successful, some were not. But at the end of the day, that's for tax purposes only. Then there's an appraised value. So an appraisal is an opinion of value, and typically it's only required by a lender. So if somebody's going to lend you money to buy a house, the appraiser, who is a licensed professional, has to look at similar sales. I don't care about what current active homes or penny homes are doing right now. It's what has happened in the past, what those homes have sold for, and they make adjustments to try to make them equalize. Like if you have a two-story with 2,000 square feet, it has to be compared to a two-story with plus or minus 20% of 2,000 square feet. And then they can make adjustments for little things like bedrooms, baths, air conditioning, kind of stuff like that. So that's an appraised value. Now, the most important value that really counts at the end of the day when you're selling your home is what a buyer would pay for your home, and that's called market value. So, an appraised value is for the lender. Market value is basically what a buyer wants to pay. And there's a lot of different factors involved with what a buyer is willing to pay. And some people really believe that, well, an appraiser said my home is worth X. Well, you have to consider what that appraiser was done for. As an example, some people will get an appraisal in order to pull some money out so they can buy their next home first, and that's okay. But is that value truly the value of the home right now? Typically, those numbers don't line up. So you really have to hire somebody when you go to sell your home that understands the differences. And I learned this the hard way. I had a seller a couple years ago that had just gotten an appraisal on his home for 1.25 million. And that home went on to sell for 890,000. So that gives you an idea on how far off they could be, right? So the purpose of that appraisal was for that homeowner to pull the equity out to buy his next house. So a lot of times, whether or not it would hold up in a purchase appraisal is a little bit different. And so these online estimates, these automated values are going down right now. And the markets are definitely dropping a little bit, probably on average about 5,000 a month at this time. And a lot of times these automated valuations are just guessing based on the homes around you that have sold, but they haven't seen your home. They don't know what kind of updates you have. They don't know anything about the home other than the basic square footage, and that's about it. And at the end of the day, the buyer has the most important vote, what they're willing to pay. Okay. Some of them look at similar sales to determine a value. I know I've had agents that are trying to prove to me that my listing isn't worth the asking price. And I get a kick out of that. I call it mansplaining and give me an education. I've been doing this 29 years. I think I know what I'm doing. But the reason they're doing it is to substantiate their value to their buyer. And you have to consider how many opinions of value has that agent done? If most agents are selling 3 or less homes a year, how would they know, right? They might look at similar sales, but are they really comparing apples to apples? So it's a fun game to play. And at the end of the day, we do value checks all through the transaction. We do it before we meet. We do it when we meet. We do it again when we get an offer. We do it again when there is an appraisal, trying to substantiate that price so we have success to the finish line. And let's talk about what not to do. Hold on just a sec. I don't know if apple cider vinegar is good for talking.
Does it taste all right?
It's really good.
Oh, good.
That's not the issue. Okay, let's talk about what not to do, like some things that could hurt a home's value. And if you fail to make needed improvements, that could absolutely hurt your value. What do I mean by needed improvements? That doesn't necessarily mean the house has to be a full-on remodel. Most buyers want to move in, drop their stuff, and get on with their lives, right? They don't expect every home in every price range to be remodeled. However, buyers are getting pickier and pickier. So they're looking at everything that they can get in their price range, and they're only going to choose to go look at the homes that represent the best buy in their price range. So that's lesson one about pricing, is be the best home on the block. Some things that are important to take a look at, or stuff that gets hit all the time on the inspection, are the furnace, the water heater, the roofs. I swear probably 60–70% of my listings are having to get new roofs because of unknown hail damage. Curb appeal is absolutely critical. Broken stuff is critical. And for buyers, they love the cosmetic stuff. I mean, flooring, lighting, appliances, countertops, all those things will make them stroke a check and pay more money for a house. And if you mismatch it, like if you don't match the quality, the improvements with the neighborhood, that can hurt your value too. Like I've seen home sellers that had just exquisite remodel, but it just didn't match the rest of the homes in the neighborhood. And what happened, even they priced it consistent with new construction homes. Many buyers would have pivoted, at least that was my experience, and go to new construction because everything's new and it's under warranty. So you have to be a little bit careful about how far you go if you are putting in improvements. But I think the best rule of thumb is just don't, anything that looks tired and dated, probably, or broken in particular, you want to take care of. Some things that you want to be careful to not to limit your buyer population by doing things like removing the only tub in the house. That's a problem. I've seen people remove bedrooms or bathrooms for their lifestyle, but then that creates a problem where you don't have enough bedrooms or bathrooms for that size home. Um, like they'd knock out walls and enlarge one bedroom instead of having two. And that's okay as long as it's not doesn't become like a two-bedroom home. And then also adding things that other buyers may not want. An example would be pools and hot tubs. So this is not a pool environment. It might be appropriate in Florida or Arizona or some of the warmer climates, but they don't necessarily add value. Like I hear a lot of people say, well, I spent 15,000 on that big fancy hot tub. Guess what? The buyer will take it if you want to leave it, but they're not going to pay 15,000 extra for a hot tub. I had one exception to that, but that was when the market was red hot and they had spent 35,000 on a swim spa in their backyard, and they did get that money for it, which was amazing. But that was right when the market was starting to shift, and that could have had something to do with it. Built-in desks, built-in hutches, built-in things like that. I've seen built-in desks that take up half the bedroom. That's a problem, right? Because then you can't work with that bedroom other than it being an office. Putting carpet near water sources. Try not to do that. People don't like carpet in bathrooms. I'm sorry. Um, and then don't over personalize. I talk about this all the time. You know, make sure you have neutral colors, no Bronco colored walls or anything like that. And you want to make sure when you do repairs that you hire professionals, unless you're a professional and you can do it. I've seen people that did a pretty good job on their own work, and that's fine. But if they're not good at it, like I would be awful if I did it myself, it's not going to go over well, and buyers will pick up on it. Landscaping and curb appeal, absolutely critical front and backyard. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And what we're talking about is basically what are the home improvements that increase value, but we started with the don'ts, what not to do. We're going to move on to some things that you should do to improve home value. And if you are looking to make a move, give us a call. We give you a free in-home consultation on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. Plus, we show up with offers on your home, and there's no obligation. Call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, now you're the host of the program, and we're talking about home improvements that could actually hurt a home's value. Some other things that home sellers really need to know about. Barb Schlinker.
Well, definitely work on the yard. I know this climate is really tough to make landscaping look pretty year-round, in particular in the winter, but make it inviting because a lot of people care about yards and lifestyle. Curb appeal is really, really important. Flower pots, you know, make sure the front door's paint is fresh. Please fix those broken plastic doorbells. Those things look terrible. If you do have a hot tub that you're going to include, it's great. Try not to add it to the sales price, but I would definitely take a picture of it with the bubbly in it because it looks really pretty that way. All season rooms are definitely attractive. Plus, if you have like a sunroom that is not heated, you can actually count the square footage if you heat it. Like you can buy an electric heater and include that in your square footage and increase the value. But in general, buyers love outdoor living spaces. They love work from home spaces, updated kitchens, updated master bathroom, updated flooring, and you know, just move-in ready in general. And we can help you do that. It doesn't mean you have to spend a fortune. Sometimes it's just staging that can make all the difference in the world. So give us a call if you're thinking of making a move at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb and her team at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about which questions home sellers need to ask agents before signing an agreement to sell. You don't want to miss that.
I made it in time. I thought I was going to run out of time on that one.
You are. This sounds. I don't notice your voice. Yes, maybe I'm. Did you notice?
That time there was none. No,
Maybe
no,
that
she's good.
works.
Maybe the apple cider vinegar works. All right, I'll be right back.
Me too.
Yeah.
This segment. Oh, yeah, yeah. Why am I even asking? Why am I even asking?
It's just saying that this is the one that you're excited about.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of agents that are never schlinkers out there. I'm okay with that. I'm
Um,
doing something right.
yeah, exactly.
I got mad at a buyer at an open house on Sunday.
What happened?
Well, it was up in the, near Monument, a lot of snow on the ground. The sellers are more seasoned citizens than I am. And the roads are clear, but the driveway was not. So he was obviously snowed in. He couldn't get his car out and down. It went down a hill and close to the road. You know how the snow plows will go by and they'll just plow you in.
Yes, yes.
It was like 4 feet deep down there.
Wow.
And I got my combat boots on, I'm like, well, we can't have all these people crawling through all the snow to get inside the house. So the seller grabbed a shovel. He's, got long, he's got a long beard and he doesn't look like he's super fit to me.
Right.
So we're both out there and it's a heavy, wet snow. And we're trying to clear off a pathway so people could walk up to the house. It's probably maybe a 70-foot driveway, but we're just doing the bottom part because the top part you could get through. And this young man shows up. He gets out of his car. He didn't look older than maybe 40, 45, looked young and fit. And we're both huffing and puffing, trying to pitch the snow. And, he made some comment like, oh, your real estate agent's earning her commission. And
Oh my God.
I should have said, get your butt over here and help. You got two senior citizens here busting their butt so you could walk up the driveway. You look pretty young and fit enough to help us. But he didn't do it, and then finally my team member showed up and her husband helped us. But
Jeez. You know what? That's just so rude.
it was awful.
I mean, it's rude enough not to offer to help, but just to make a snarky comment like that on top of it all,
Yeah,
I
he
don't
was
know. I'd be upset too.
still not over it. You know what I'm mad at? I'm mad that I didn't say that. Get your butt up here and help.
I know, right?
You want to see this house. You look young and fit. You got these two seasoned citizens standing there, you know, dying, trying to move this heavy, wet snow, and you can't help. What's your problem? Go away if you're not going to help.
That Friday night snow was pretty bad.
It was really bad. And it was worse up. We had feet of snow on our back deck, and then you pile on the snowplower coming by with that heavy wet snow and their big machinery that it just turns into this brick of concrete, basically. Some people
I
are
think I had 23 inches.
Did you really? I didn't know. I was
Yeah.
actually, I helped a friend yesterday. He's not in very good health. And so I went up to um, Black Forest and helped him yesterday. He had 24 inches on his back deck.
uh,
And he's a defense contractor and had to go into work today. And his daughter, who probably weighs about 80 pounds, had tried shoveling to get the car out and stuff. I went up there and I did that. And the thing is, I mean, I can understand what you're saying, Barb, because it was so heavy. It was
really,
so deep. And I was pushing myself to do it. I can, no slight to you, but you're 40 years old and you could, grab a shovel and come over and help. I mean,
right. He
I
looked
went
young
through
and
my
fit,
neighbors, so
yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
didn't
'Cause-
lift a finger, and then had snarky things to say. I was just like,
and I'm 49, so
you can leave.
yeah,
That's what I should have said. If you're going to be that rude, you can leave, Anyway.
I'm with you on that one.
I guess you didn't want to see this house.
I'm telling you, there's gonna be a point in time where my hold your tongue is the problem is I know me, and I know when I let go, it's never pretty.
Why do I think that that is not much of a surprise to me? Just, I don't know, saying,
Just
but
know me. If I
yeah.
let it fly, I usually regret it, but that time, that one just bothered me because I think he was oblivious, to what he did or didn't do, you know.
Well,
Then
and I
came
think it's,
out, criticized the house and it's not worth that much. I'm like, yeah, okay, I hear you. That's all I said. Go away. I wanted to say go away. I just said, I hear you. Have a nice day.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I think part of it is honestly just how you're raised, right? I mean, yeah, I would think that, yeah, here's the deal. I'm pretty sure your son would probably have been there. And if that were him, he would have said, "Hey, let me give you a hand." And that's because that's how you raised him.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the right thing to do.
Yes.
It's like, how come you don't know that? What is wrong with you? Anyway, all right. This is my time to vent, just so
It
you
is good. I mean, I think the thing is, we're all on the same page here. So, yeah.
know. Get it off my chest. All right.
All right.
Sometimes, sometimes it's real estate agents I'm slapping around. That time it was a buyer that I wanted to slap around big time.
Well, and what happened? I mean, was he even worth having come up and look at the thing, or was it like, oh my gosh, the guy was a jerk, and then on top of it, he didn't even show any inclination to do anything?
He was, it got worse. Let me just say it got worse from there. That's all I
Yeah.
have to say. The situation did not improve in any way. And I just really wished he was not there. That's all. But but there were a lot of nice people that showed up. Oh, the other thing is like this home, it needs a lot of work. So I did not do inside pictures. And this one buyer was walking up and I said, hey, just so you know, this needs a lot of work. I told him some of the issues. If it's not for you, it's okay if you don't go in. Well, how come there weren't any inside pictures? And I said, well, if you want to go in, you'll see, but it's not, not in good condition. These are the problems, major, major problems with the house. And, and then I got this snarky thing back from his agent. That's a weird way to open the house, have an open house. You don't have any inside pictures. In other words, it's your job to save me time to come and
Yeah,
see.
exactly. Exactly.
And they do that. I get calls like that all the time. Well, why are there no inside pictures? I'm like, just not doing it. Sorry, I don't have to do it. So, but it's like they didn't exist in the day when there were no pictures on houses and you had to go see them, but I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, there is such a wide range of people that are out there. And I hear these stories, and I'm proud to say I always where you're at in terms of these evaluations and what people's judgments are and how they look at these things. I'm with you over and over and over and over again. And I do not understand these other people.
Yeah, well, I mean, there it just became this entitlement thing. Like I've heard buyers say that, well, if I don't see a picture of every bathroom, I'm just going to move on. I'm not going to go see it because I don't trust it, you know.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but part of that is I trust you, and I know that I know you, but and maybe they just have been burned on a lot of other things. I guess I don't know how else to explain it.
Well, I mean, I just know not to take ugly pictures. That's not my
Right?
job.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I can't go into detail on the description about it. I really can't disparage a home that needs that much work. What most of the agents do is they'll do stuff like, well, it needs TLC, which is code for it's totally trashed.
exactly. Right. It's a
It
fixer
is.
upper or
That's
whatever. I
included.
mean,
Or they'll say something like, which I did use these words, this home has so much potential on a
there we
beautiful.
are. Yeah.
Okay. That's a clue. Not everybody gets it. Uh, good news is I don't care what they say because I don't work for them.
You just keep moving forward. I mean, all right. I got a clock here and I got a script. Are you good, David? David's good. Barb, you good?
I'm good.
Count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, I know many people ask you questions when they're getting ready to sell their homes. What are the top questions that home sellers should be asking real estate agents before signing an agreement to sell their homes? How do they make sure they don't get into something that's a lot of trouble?
Well, like I mentioned earlier in the show, I say a majority of the agents in today's market have never seen a market where the prices are correcting, and they absolutely are correcting on average about 5,000 a month lower. So how do you get ahead of that as a home seller? I know every seller wants the most money, but unless the home is underpriced by at least 5, maybe 10%, it's going to take a lot longer to sell. The average days on market is like 86 days right now, and that's up from the previous month. Um, there's 30% fewer buyers in the market right now that can afford these payments because of high interest rates. So they're being extremely picky, and they absolutely are looking for the best deals that they can get in their price range. So it's really almost not quite a buyer's market, but it's becoming a very, very balanced market. So, in order to be successful selling in a market like this, you have to be priced appropriately. You have to be prepared to attract the buyer. You have to make sure it's promoted properly in order to get the most money and have it sell quickly. So let's talk about first the questions that you should ask an agent without regard to agent performance that are very important questions. One is, what do I need to do to prepare my home for sale? Now, we help people do this multiple times every week. We come out, we get the grand tour, we give you tips on what to do, what not to do to get it ready for sale, give you a really good idea what it will sell for, and show you how much you'll put in your pocket when it sells. So that's a good question, and you should always ask that. The next question, which we get an awful lot, is what's my home worth? And unlike the boom, not every home is selling right now. So pricing a home right is absolutely critical. And it's the market that decides what it's going to sell for. It's not the seller, it's not the real estate agent. It's what the market, the buyers, what I mean by the market is what the buyers are willing to pay. And we'll sit down with home sellers and give them very specific, excellent empirical data so they can make the best decision. Now, does every seller make the best decision about pricing? No. Some people push the envelope, and we're okay to go alongside with them as long as they understand that, over time, we're going to have to make some adjustments if it doesn't work. And there are some home sellers that really want to sell right now. They don't want to wait around. Actually, the national statistics are there's a growing number of home sellers that are willing to sell their home for cash, even to an investor, and even willing to give up more than $45,000 in their equity just to avoid the traditional sales process of getting your home ready for sale, having to deal with agents coming through the house, leaving lights on, doors unlocked, all that kind of stuff, and criticizing the home until you finally get a buyer. So that part is not fun if you're a home seller. But we're able to do this all the time. Just last weekend, I had 40 people at an open house and we got 2 offers. So it requires the perfect setup of preparation, getting the house ready to show, pricing it very realistically versus optimistically, and make sure you hire an agent that knows how to promote. So we were on the break, we were just talking about not every home is going to get a picture of every room or even the inside if it doesn't make the home look more valuable. Our goal is to get as many buyers to come out and see the home and go for them. And I'm sorry, our goal is to get as many buyers to come out and take a look at the home. And that way the home will sell itself and you're more likely to get an offer in that situation. That's why picking the right agent absolutely is critical. There are over 180 different tasks that a great agent will do involved with handling the sale. Another really good question that a home seller should be asking is, how long will it take to sell my home? Now, that depends. We know what the averages are, 89 days or 86 days right now, and it really depends on preparation, pricing, and whether or not it's promoted properly. If they get all of the 4 Ps right, it can sell in as little as 2 weeks. But if they don't price it right, if it's not marketed right, if you don't pick the right agents, chances are your home will sit on the market, the price will slowly walk down, and at the end of the day, you're going to either reduce your price to get the price down, or what we're seeing more and more sellers these days do is they just sit out the market. They take their house off the market and they wait. And they wait until the market gets a little bit better. The problem is that the market's not getting better, it's getting worse. So if you are thinking of selling, I definitely would not wait. And a general rule of thumb is, if you have 10 showings and no offers, your price is too high. If you go 10 days without a showing, your price is too high. And if you're getting low offers, your price is closer, but probably a little bit high. So that kind of gives you the rule of thumbs that I go by to help my home sellers decide where to position their home price right. And then what if you're getting offers with strings attached? What do I mean by that? Things like, hey, I'd love to buy your home, but it's contingent on my home selling, and my home isn't on the market yet. In fact, I had one agent do that and tell me that not only is the home not on the market, but she had no idea where she was going to price that home. And then the seller went ahead and took her offer, took their house off the market. That home goes on the market, and lo and behold, that home was priced, no kidding, Richard, at least 150,000 over current market value.
Oh my gosh.
So there was no way that it was going to happen while we're still young. So fortunately, the sellers got out of the contract because they asked for too much junk on the inspection. They were also making demands. Well, we're going to terminate if we don't get everything we asked for. And we're like, okay, bye-bye. So we were kind of happy to get rid of them, made room for another buyer, and that one is now closing. Okay, another question. How important is staging? So there's different kinds of staging. One kind would be basically working with your stuff to make the home look more attractive. There's also bringing in furniture, which is a big effort. It's a little bit more expensive. Or we also have virtual staging. We do a little bit all of it, whatever it takes to get the home sold, because we know the very first showing is done online. You don't want your house to be eliminated based on the online presentation. The buyer needs to visualize themselves in the home, and that's enough to get them to motivate to come out and take a look at it. And here's a question we get all the time. When's the best time to sell? And actually, if you look at stats, so this is a little bit older data, but it's pretty consistent year round. It doesn't matter. It seems to me the only months that were really, really slow for selling were January and February, and the rest of the months it's pretty consistent. So I wouldn't worry about that. Make it work for you, especially with the prices correcting. I wouldn't hesitate to go on the market right now. Homes actually look very pretty, decorated for Christmas and stuff, so don't worry about that. Another good question is, do I have to leave for all the showings? That is not always practical for everybody. Sometimes they've got kids, they've got dogs, they've got cats that don't like being in the cars, or physically they just can't do it. You control that, you set the rules. So don't let anybody tell you you must leave and be at the beck and call anytime one of the random 5,600 agents decides they want to come see your home. No, no, no. You need to bring it down to a much narrower gap, and actually that creates more demand for the home. And that's what we do for our home sellers. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about the top questions sellers should be asking when they're getting their house ready for sale. And next up, we're going to cover some other top questions that real estate agents really wish you did not ask them when they're discussing the sale with you. If you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900. We're in a different market with less demand, higher rates, fewer buyers, lots of competition. You need the pros to help you here. Call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing the top questions that a home seller should ask when getting ready to sell their home. Now, everyone knows that I've been recommending you for years, the only person I would trust or recommend. Tell us, what are some of the key questions that a home seller should ask a real estate agent that agents really wish they didn't have to answer?
Well, let's go over the facts. Okay. It's a hard business to be in. 87% of real estate agents get out of the business every 5 years. 81% of real estate agents sell 3 or less homes a year, and half of those agents aren't selling any homes at all. I was looking at the statistics this morning, and it was really sad for me to see that at any given month we have anywhere from 900 to 1,400 sales that take place. But there are 5,600 agents. So that means that most agents are not even having one sale every month. So they do it every third month or every other month if they're selling at all. And the reason why people get frustrated with the whole process is that their experience is many times these agents are not full-time. They have communication issues, they have disclosure issues, they have marketing issues, and closing issues. So here's a question that an agent would really not like you to ask them, most of them, which is, how many homes have you sold in the last year? That's a very good question. Another question is, how long of an agreement should I sign with a real estate agent? Some agents don't really give you a choice, and you want to know, as a home seller, a follow-on question to that is, what if I'm not satisfied with what's going on? Can I cancel my agreement? And can I cancel it without any expenses? I helped a family sell their home a year ago in the winter, and they had broken up from that agent that had it on the market for a number of months. It didn't sell. So it wasn't expired, but it was soon to be expired. And those agents made that seller pay them $3,000 to break their contract. So you got to really look at the fine line. That was extraordinary. And then when they did that, they had good summer pictures. They wouldn't share it with me. Oh no, that's just our marketing expense. So I thought that was pretty rude and probably not something that will bode them well for future business with that agent. So my recommendation is absolutely get a cancellation clause, get it in writing, and make sure there's no mystery about what happens if you're not satisfied. The state forms don't say anything about the quality of work. Okay. And another great question you can ask a real estate agent. So what if the ultimate buyer that wants to buy my house has a house to sell? Do you, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, have any solutions for that buyer? Well, I want to tell you that we do. We have multiple solutions, not just cash buyers, but we have other solutions to help that buyer and their agent get it to the finish line. And we also make sure that they are satisfied. So another good question would be, so why should I choose you over any of the other choices out there of the 5,600 agents? And you want from that to know that they're giving you some kind of cancellation or satisfaction guarantees to make sure that you're satisfied through the entire process. We provide those. So if you want to find out about those, give us a call at 719-301-3900, and you can find out about all the questions you should ask a real estate agent before you sell at barbhasthebuyers.com. Click on free reports. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker, host of the program, and with your home sold, guaranteed realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Or if you want a free report, the top 10 questions to ask before you hire a real estate agent, visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Go to the green button that says free reports. Click there. Short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about how much should you have in savings before buying a home, plus Barb's hot new listing. Stay tuned for that.
Was I too snarky?
No, you know what? You always strike
I
exact.
actually expected more.
Yeah, I was going to say you strike exactly the right tone. And,
Expected more out of me.
you tiptoe around it sometimes, but I don't think you ever cross the line, ever, ever, ever.
Yeah. Try not to.
I lost something here.
Get out here with your shovel.
Get your boat up here.
I guess what really upsets me is that you work. I mean, I obviously don't know what the average agent does or how hard they work, but you're out there shoveling, you're driving out into the middle of nowhere on the Eastern Plains and putting up with, all kinds of crazy people out there for this project or that real estate. You work so hard. And then to hear some of these people, and maybe it's a generational thing, they just want everything handed to them. They don't want to work very hard, but they sure as heck want that check.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes it fun.
How long do you think you'll keep doing it?
I don't know. That was my rule. I mean, I just invested in this company, so I have to grow. I wrote my goals yesterday and this morning. And I think my 3-year plan is to do less and less transactions. And I like the training, I like the marketing, um, that aspect of it. But will I quit? I don't know. I mean, there's people in the business that I know they're still in their 80s, out pitching homes. And I don't see myself doing that in my 80s, but
I could see you
um,
being a consultant or something, though.
yeah, I love the show. I don't know why. It's just fun. People are big fans of it. At least they tell me they like it. So
That's all I hear. I mean, I don't expect somebody would tell you or me, oh my God, but I also wouldn't expect that people are saying positive things to you and to me if they didn't mean it.
I think that it has a little bit of entertainment factor.
I
But
would say yes on that. Yeah. Yeah. You make it lively. Let's put it that way.
it's we've listened to some other shows where they don't give you anything and they leave you only wanting to call to get stuff, which I think is annoying, to some extent. Um,
I think it is. Yeah. I
or
mean,
it's just really boring. No.
a lot. I mean, that's the one thing, and David and I talk about this sometimes, but the infomercials are a big deal. They become a big deal in radio, and radio relies on them. But, when I listen either to our station here or to other stations, you're not like an infomercial. You are so completely different from that. And I think it really, if you're looking at a lineup and you have Del Walmsley, some of these other things in there, and then all of a sudden you have you liven it up and it doesn't feel like, some sort of,
I
block.
come away with something.
Yes, yes. And your personality is just a big part of that, I think. So
Well, the agents help out an awful lot. If they made the show, they screwed up, and it's like, thank you. It's a bonus, even though I might be mad at the time.
well, a lot of them are probably just, thrilled that you're not mentioning their specific name. They're probably listening, going, "Wait, is she going to talk about me this week?"
Yeah, I can't do that. I would
I
like
know. But they're probably saying, wait a minute, is she talking about me when she says that? Yeah, maybe she is. Okay.
telling your story.
And I'll tell you
I
what,
didn't
I
mean to
mean,
come across that way.
well, the truth of the matter is, if somebody asked me, I'd say, you know what? Barb never like runs out of people to talk about.
That's true.
There's plenty of them out there that,
It's a target rich environment, it's
yes, that's a great way. Oh my God, that is perfect.
it came up with that. Really, you came up with that. The one last week, she turned the house into a regional building just to get what she wanted. Oh,
Target rich environment.
I went marched right down. I'm an intel officer. Find out. I marched my butt right down to regional building, got face to face, and said, "Did you
You
say
got that
this?"
place from Top Gun.
Oh yeah,
in
I
case
know.
you
Just
didn't. Okay.
remind me never every week. I'm
That's
so
true.
tempted to get on your bad side.
Popular movie.
We walk in here and he's like, remember, Richard, no matter what you do not get on our bad side. So if I hate to think what would happen if you didn't
You
warn me to
guys
do
could
that.
never be on my bad side.
Gosh. Target rich environment. That is so funny. That's
It is.
He says it as he's walking into a bar, though.
oh my gosh. See, I
True.
haven't watched that in so
It was
long.
about women. It was about
It was.
picking up women. I
Yeah,
went to that bar, I went to that bar it was back in the 80s, right?
right.
And oh my God, after that movie came out, the Miramar Officers Club was packed. And it was Wednesday night. It's a weird night. That was the night that you went. And after the movie came out, there were men that were literally renting flight suits to pick up girls.
Oh my
They,
gosh.
they
I,
would pay real
that's
pilots like $100 a night to rent their flight suit.
jeez, jeez, jeez,
I
jeez.
feel the need.
Yeah, and they'd say stuff like, "Yo, I fly." He's in a Navy pilot jumpsuit or flight suit, and he's like, "Yeah, I fly F-16s," and I'm
Like
as a
wrong
traffic controller,
privilege.
I'm like, "The Navy doesn't fly F-16s, doofus. That's an Air Force bird."
Oh my gosh. Oh
It
my
was
God.
fun. It's fun to watch.
The stories you could tell, we ought to just do a show one time where it's like, she does real estate, but listen to some of the things she's gone through in life. So, Barb, now let's go back to the Philippines while you were posted there for a while and talk about
I don't know.
never a dull moment with you, Barbara. All right. I got segment 4.
Okay.
I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Richard Randall, welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, host of the program. And this is the weekly radio show that informs and it educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many home buyers want to buy their first home, but struggle to either know what they can afford or, more importantly, whether they can have enough money saved up to buy a home here in Colorado. How much money should a home buyer have in savings before thinking about buying a home?
Well, Richard, I've never covered this topic before, and I got this question from a buyer recently, and I thought it was a great question because if you compare buying a house to the car business, it's night and day. You could go into a car dealership and get a brand new car and probably not even write a check for a penny and walk out the door with the keys. It's a piece of cake, right? And it's kind of a lower bar to get our car loan versus it is a house loan. A house loan, they really scrutinize you for a house because they want to make sure that you can afford it. So the first step into buying homes, what buyers think the first step is let's go look at houses. That's what they do. And the truth is, the younger generation is probably better at searching online by far than I am. And so they do get a lot of education. They watch a lot of videos. They listen to podcasts. They're pretty savvy on researching, which I think that's a good thing. But they really don't know how the home buying process works. So the first step really is not to go shop for the house because you could set yourself up for disappointment. So I had that happen one time. I met this buyer. And that weekend, this was before the prices got too high, there was this really cute house out east on acreage for sale. I encouraged him to come to the open house. And before I said, look, make sure you get pre-qualified because this home is priced right. There's probably going to be multiple offers, right? And so he did come to the open house. He loved it, said, "Oh, I want to make an offer." I said, "Great. Did you get pre-qualified?" No. And of course, that's on the weekend. He couldn't get a hold of the lender till Monday. And by then it's gone, right? We had 10 offers, it's gone. So it's really important to get that step done because the best deals go fast no matter what the market is doing. All right, so what exactly do you have to do? Really, all you have to do is pick up the phone and call a reputable lender. I would not necessarily go straight to your bank, although there are some local banks that are pretty good at mortgage loans. I would ask whatever broker you're working with, who do you recommend for getting a mortgage? Because there's so many different loan programs out there. There's many different amounts that you need to prepare for in down payment. And it takes a little bit of education to walk into buying a house. And it starts with how much house can you afford? So I know rents are going up. In general, a good rule of thumb is a lender will qualify you based on anywhere from 25 to 40% of your, it could go as high as 50% of your gross monthly income can be in the form of debt payments, which includes house payment, credit cards, car payment, student loan, all that stuff. Okay. So you want to talk to a reputable mortgage broker? It only takes 1 month to be a real estate broker, and it takes 2 weeks to be a mortgage broker. Okay. So make sure you're talking to somebody with some experience. And there are some programs where you can actually get down payment assistance as long as you can afford the payment. Those require that you have a pretty good credit score, not stellar, but pretty good. And they have income limits, but in general, you should be fine on that. Make sure that when you save money in preparing for buying a house, if you are making big deposits, like if your parents gave you some money, or I noticed Bitcoin went up into the 80s today. I was like, wow, I should have kept mine. You have to have a paper trail to prove where the money came from because they are going to look at your bank statements. They go that far. They don't just say, how much do you make? They actually verify it. They check your bank statements. If they see any big deposits, they're going to be asking questions. Where did that money come from? They might even ask whoever gave you that money to prove it as well. Different down payments, you can see 20% usually is good for conventional, but you can also get 10%, 5%, 3.5%, 3%, even zero down on certain loans. Okay. It's all about the payment and whether or not you can afford the payment. So I do recommend going to this one website. It's called bankrate.com, and then look for mortgage calculator. And in there you can put in based on what the current rates are, your down payment, and it'll walk you through how much the payment is going to be. And you'll be able to tell real fast if that's in your budget. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how much money do home buyers really need to set aside to prepare to buy a home? How much do they really need to save to get ready for it? And next up, we're going to talk about some surprising cost in home buying because it's not just the down payment, it's the closing cost. It is some of the credit costs that you need to do up front, like credit report, appraisal. They need cash reserves. You need to prove that you have cash reserves to make 3 to 6 months payments. There's all these factors. And then there could be some unexpected things like inspection items, and we're going to talk about those in the next segment. So if you are thinking of making a move, one of the things that we do for our buyers is we actually give them insider access to homes that they cannot find anywhere online. In our platform, right now we're up to almost 170 properties of motivated home sellers that want to sell their home. So our buyers get access to those. And then if you're thinking of selling, of course, what we do is give you tips on what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale, give you a good idea what your home will sell for. And we'll be able to present to all the buyers in the community, not just our buyers, but our buyers in waiting, Zillow buyers, our citywide buyer agent network, and all the programs that we have to make the process smooth and worry-free. Just call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing the how home buyers should have. Oh, Barb, we're talking about how much home buyers should have in savings before buying a house here in Colorado. What are some expenses that home buyers should be prepared for when they're buying a house?
Well, Richard, in addition to your down payment, now you'll hear if you listen to some of the other radio gurus like Dave Ramsey, he says you should save to have 20% down, but it's not just the down payment. You can get into a home with as little as $1,000 out of pocket, even if you're not one of our beloved veterans. You can do that. However, you still have to be able to afford the payment. But there's some other costs that happen in the home buying process that you should know about. You got to pay for a home inspection. That could cost from $300 to $500. You got to pay for an appraisal for your loan. That could be $750. If you're buying a manufactured home, you might end up paying for a foundation inspection. That could cost another $750. And credit reports have gotten expensive too, almost $100. So those are the kind of along the way before you actually close. You also want to make sure, in addition to your down payment and your inspection cost and your loan closing costs. So in general, loan closing costs are going to be about 2% of the purchase price. And that would include the underwriting, the loan origination. There's lots of fees within that. Prepaid, set aside for property taxes and insurance, one whole year of insurance. You might end up paying some or all of the buyer agency fee now. And more recently, what we're seeing, because a lot of people, a lot of home sellers are having to replace their roofs because of legacy hail damage. As a home buyer, you have the option to upgrade the shingle on that roof and make it last longer. And that actually is a very good investment. I had one of my buyers do it recently, and he was happy I suggested it to him because it cost about $2,000 to upgrade the roof, but they give you a break on your homeowner's insurance. So that upgrade paid for itself in just 3 years. And going forward, he had a discount on the roof for as long as he had that roof. So those are some unexpected things. And that's why when you buy a house, you don't just want your down payment plus your closing cost. You want some fluffy money. I say $2,000 to $4,000. And then you also need to have somewhere either in a retirement account or in savings, what they call a rainy day or cash reserve funds, sitting in a savings account somewhere. And what the lenders like to see is anywhere from 3 to 6 payments. Now, that seems like a lot of money. Average payment, like I noticed a payment for a 410 house, no money down at current rates is probably about $2,800. However, that was with zero down, right? So you could have that set aside somewhere just sitting within a retirement account, and that might be sufficient for underwriters. You have to ask these questions. And one more thing that you're going to have to pay for are moving costs. Now, we let our clients use our moving vans for free. You just have to supply the labor, but we're happy to do that. And because it's got a big wrap on it, it's got my name on it. So for me, it's a giant billboard driving around. But the clients just love it. So that's an option for you too. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker, host of the program, and with your home sold, guaranteed realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, your favorite time of the program, what are your hot new listings?
Absolutely. Well, the first one, 3465 Mosswood Drive, beautiful starter home, priced in the mid twos. Will be open this weekend. We've got a couple of properties on the market open. They're owned by the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. One of them needs some work, but it's a good starter home at 338.5. We have another one that really doesn't need any work, priced at 385. Really good buy. Those are on the market right now. I have a spectacular custom home with amazing views on Sunbird Cliffs, priced at 1.599 million. This home has a 2-car garage on the main level. You drive around the side, there's another 4-car garage. You could actually enter from that level and have multi-generational families living in that home. It's absolutely beautiful. A fixer-upper on Pine View, priced at $399. We also have a great home in Rock Rimmon on Delmonico at $715, and a 5-plex down by Fountain, priced at $499, and a beautiful home on Crandall Drive in the low fours, plus some gorgeous lots. So if you want to find out about all of our available homes for sale, you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com. And if you are thinking of making a move, we love to help people buy or sell. Give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. And remember, you can see replays of the show on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Has the Buyers, or listen to the podcast on all of the popular podcast platforms like Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, many, many others. Thanks for listening this weekend. And to give Barb a call, 719-301-3900. Barb, have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Wonderful week to you.
Stay dry, stay warm, stay crazy. No, stay away from